is that as soon as I left Dunwall, my head felt clear, maybe for the first time. You told me once that people like us burn hot, then burn up. We don't get a chance to start over. No long days in the sun. But no, you doubt. Despite all the blood in your hands, you've been stashing coin. No one does that if they're not holding on to something. You've got some kind of plan, some hope for a new life. Maybe you knew, maybe you didn't. But that's what you. But that's what. Maybe you knew, maybe you didn't. But that's what you gave me when you let me walk away. The one thing you said that wasn't possible, and I'll never forget that. When the time comes, and it will. I hope you're watching close so you get that chance too. I have the book for you. The world is big, bigger than I knew. There are lots of places where an old man like you could disappear. Billy. That was nice of her. Here's the corrupted one. Benefit. You deal greater damage with your sword, but you swing it slower. So I'm thinking, use them to counteract it. Don't have my sword yet. There's a rune down below. Rune over there. Doesn't seem like there's anything else. Nope. Don't mind me, lads. Folded Govani resin. Bonded Govani weave. The Metaphysic Mysterium. Excerpt from a larger bandwork on supernatural ritual. It is said that we should not soil our hands when combating the forces of the void. My studies have been deemed heretical by my brothers, but the rewards have been invaluable. I've harnessed the same energies employed by the outsider and his cursed followers while avoiding their corruption. I've actually read this before. One second. Sorry, I just had to fix my hair. I'll prescribe a twofold method in this text. Indirection. As the unwholesome powers of the outsider use living flesh as a conduit, we can avoid being tainted by using the flesh fighters instead. Containment. By using channels and barriers, we can focus these void energies in a raw state, shooting them from the reverse perspectives of the outsider. Overseer sabers. No. You can use them if you want. Sure, I'll take one. I'm gonna check all around this place. Because there's bits of gubbins all over the place. Yeah, I'm gonna loot the
Taking prisoners is exactly the sort of thing I'm talking about. You don't have to remind me. It's Billy's doing that the Overseers found us. That wasn't Dowd. Dowd should have caught it. And now witches? He's not the man he was. Quiet. You're going to get us killed.
Hey lads. They just blinked away. The Knife of Dunwall, A Survivor's Tale. From a street pamphlet containing sensationalized sightings of the assassin Dowd. Gentle reader, be sure that your coin is well spent today. What you read here may one day preserve your life and your sanity. No one has seen the Knife of Dunwall and lived to tell the tale of it. Until now. The sun was setting, a body staying against the sky, silhouetting the noble contours of Rottweil's slaughterhouse. The stench of blood, the flesh of men and whales soured the air. Sorry, something in my mouth. Dowd slithered from the sewers, his body slick with gore, and crawling with vermin that no mortal man could have tolerated. His shadow stretched out before him on the ground, and revealed his true nature, a horned thing warped by heresy. A shape too terrible to put into words, my gentle readers. A sorcerer from the void, without question. I could hear the moans of the dying walkers he left in his wake, but he did not pause to even acknowledge their plight. For his heart is colder than Typhian ice. Instead, he let out a guttural howl of victory, the shock of which snuffed out the life of those poor dying workers. Then he bounded away, moving from roof to roof, back towards the streets. This is where I thought this chapter would end, until I heard the music. The grinding metal music of the overseers echoed from nearby alleyways, and I knew there would soon be a fight. Only with my sense of duty to the fallen citizens of Dunwall, to keep my fear from overtaking me, I inched closer to the mouth of the alley for a better vantage. A brave contingent overseers had captured one of Dowd's lieutenants lurking in the alley. He, or she, for I could not tell under the thick leather of the industrial whaler suit, was prone and tied with sturdy ropes, surrounded by overseers, but the fixation was ultimately their undoing. Dowd fell from above, moving through the air as easily as a falcon. I swear it upon my spirit. Without a sound, he glided down among them, and the music maker was first to die, as Dowd tore the man's head from his shoulders. The wretched... The wretched song faded in a discordant wail. Then it watched as the most notorious assassin of our time became a flurry of leather, metal, and blood, deflecting bolts and sword blades with ease. The last overseer, no doubt consumed by terror at seeing his brothers fall so easily, sank to his knees and begged for mercy. Dowd spoke a single word that made my entrails squirm in my belly upon hearing it. The overseer shrieked like a madman. Those masks split in two, though struck by some hammer and chisel, and a stream of blood gushed forth from the crack, bathing Dowd's boots. I closed my eyes at that point, too overwhelmed to witness any further atrocity. I could only hope that if the Daffo heretic discovered me next, my life would end swiftly. But when I opened my eyes, Dowd was nowhere to be seen. That was the last I ever saw of the Knife of Dunwall. So heed my warning, gentle reader. Should you or anyone you love witness some misshapen shadow fall across your path, or should you hear the slightest rumour of dark words whispered from rooftops, then flee with all haste. Still holding on to, still getting a bad rap when we play nice. Of course, seal that up to limit how far you can backtrack.
They say he let Rothwild live. Is Dowd getting soft? Rothwild's not coming back anytime soon. You should spend more time thinking about your form.
Oh, that guy had a lighter cloak than the other guy. Is he a novice or something? Possibly. And that's blocked off too. Nice little detail that they acknowledged to the devs. Acknowledge blocking that off. Droll Spy Master. I don't think I've read this before. Excerpt from a historical record of government positions and ranks. It is said that the office of Royal Spy Master existed for as long as there have been emperors and... sorry, I was skipping ahead to check if I read it before. I have seen this before, but I think that was during Jesse's Let's Play. However, in the early stage, as long as there have been emperors and empresses. However, in the early stages of the empire, this position existed in secrecy. Only after the moral insurrection was the position publicly acknowledged due to the tremendous role that the acting spy master played in quelling the rebellion. Originally, members of the military or officers of the State Watch were advocated for the role, chosen by the Admiralty. In recent years, the outgoing spy master has made recommendations for his replacement from a small cadre of espionage agents serving him. In this way, continuity is preserved, since many of the covert projects undertaken by the government are not committed to writing, only communicated in whispers, behind secured doors. This leads to the most common critique of the office of Royal Spy Master, that actions are taken and deeds committed that even the emperor or empress is not aware of. The lack of oversight or accountability is a commonly debated topic during parliamentary sessions, but those who hold the position of Royal Spy Master insist that in order to function, the role must exist outside existing bureaucracy. Of course they do. Because if they didn't insist that, then they would be inevitably held accountable for whatever shitty stuff they pull. Equipment chest, equipped gear. I wonder will he take his own sword? Probably not, since of the other one. Maybe. He may have just taken as part of the animation, but let's see if it actually counts. Okay, now we have pull. Pull inanimate objects towards you from distance. Consumable items are used or stored immediately. Strategy tips. Pull can silently disable a security system if used on whale oil tanks powering the device. Pull living things and bodies towards you from distance. When enemies are pulled enough through the when enemies are pulled close enough, they are suspended in the air. Corpses and unconscious bodies are automatically carried. While suspended in the air, enemies are vulnerable to lethal and non-lethal takedowns. That is very handy, but that requires tier 2. I can boost this up, but there's no use. Yes, we'll boost this. So I've already read that. Yes, I've gotten the other one. So has this popped back? No. Thomas's journal. Recent journal entry, carefully written in a careful hand. Our troubles began with a name. Delilah. A mystery given to Dowd by the face he sees in his dreams, and whose voice he hears when kneeling at the shrines hidden in the lost parts of the city. None of us have ever heard this voice, but we know its power. It spoke to our master, telling him of his coming doom, and saying that solving this riddle was the only way to escape it. We know nothing of Delilah, except that we found a whaling ship by that name, a tenuous connection, but where the outsider's word is concerned, there are no coincidences. We discovered the ship was named after a woman who once walked the halls of Dunwall Tower with Jasmine Colwyn. Later she became a painter, an apprentice of Sokolov himself. Really? That wasn't stated. But does explain her skill. Until she snared an aristocratic patron named Arnold Timsh. We met with Timsh's niece, who offered us information on Delilah in exchange for eliminating her uncle. Removing aristocrats was her specialty, so our master agreed. With the barrister Arnold Timsh gone, his niece divulged everything she knew. Delilah was much more than a painter, and she was hiding in the old Brigmore manor outside the city. But by then we were too late. Delilah anticipated her threat. For some time she'd been working her corruptive influence on the best of us. The assassin Billy Lurk. Delilah turned Lurk against us, and together they sold us out to the overseers. When we returned to our hideout in the Fudda district, we were swarmed by gold masks and hounds, but Dowd is quick and wise in her trade. In the end he kept us alive, though there were losses. Now our resources are strained, some of our men are grumbling. See the strain on Dowd's face, killing the Empress, handing over her daughter. Those are not easy burdens to bear. Lurk's betrayal weighs on him heavily. His sleep is troubled by curses and shouts. Now we make preparations to strike back at Delilah. She's planning something in Brigmore, something that affects everyone in the Isles, and she will be expecting us. Like her master, she shares her gifts from the outsider with those who follow her. How many are they, I wonder? I have no secrets from my master. My loyalty is a question, but I fear these may be the last days of the Whalers, perhaps the last days of Dowd. How right you are. I have no idea what this is map of. The Whalers. Except from a journalist's report on organised crime activity, one gentleman of advanced age swore that his brother had been taken by the Whalers, a notorious gang associated with a man called Dowd. According to Peter Mansfield, his brother Radoff was proud of working with the Royal Spy Masters Responsible Citizens Group, feeling no shame in reporting what he perceived as shitty dealings by his rivals at the fish markets. But this might have been the source of his trouble. On the 6th evening of the month of Hearts, Radoff came storming into Peter's home, white-faced and panic-stricken, claiming to have been chased by a group of ruffians wearing leather suits and vapor masks used by the men working in whale oil factories. Peter gave him sup and drink, sending him on his way later in the night, after which Radoff was never seen again. Surprising that they left him get into the place. Circanos, Jubilee South, is best known for its warm winds, spicy food, and endless beaches. While the city of Coro sees the heaviest flow of travellers from across the Isles, Karnaka, the southernmost edge of the known world, is preferred by the elite of the empire. It is said that a month spent resting beneath the sun at the beaches of Circanos, within one of the rural villages, can cure most maladies. Travellers bring back recipes and styles from the south, and the dances that all Circonans learn in the youth are favoured in Bristol for their sensuality. Copied by the fashionable aristocracy in the capital city of Dunwall. The only persistent trouble in Circanos originates along the string of tiny islands stretching away from the mainland to the east. For generations, pirates have hidden amongst this archipelago, raiding travellers passing between the isles, and more recently, attacking whaling ships returning with rich stores of oil. Just looking for books.
I found Lizzie Stride. Getting her to lend us her boat will be a bit complicated, however. She's in Coldridge. From what I hear, they've got enough on her to hold her for about 1,000 years.
Coldridge. We can use this. We'll get her out. And Stride will have to pay back the favor. We'll have our transport.
Ready to leave, sir? Or should I wait?
It seems like we are ready to leave. Noticing the assassin talk tube thing popped up there. I got the corrupted charm, got the 2 runes, and I found 500 coins, and I defeated Corvo in a dream. Didn't kill anyone either. So yay me. Continue. Corrupted charms can be stacked with other charms or powers to enhance your abilities. Stay of Execution for Lizzie. You need Lizzie Stride's bow to reach Delilah's stronghold at Brigmore Manor. Unfortunately, the leader of the Dead Eels gang is locked up in the Cold Ridge prison. You've got to break her out.
Delilah doesn't leave Brigmore Manor anymore. She doesn't have to. Which means I have to come to her. The manor's upriver, far out past the quarantine line. I'll need a ship. I've lived in Dunwall's underworld a long time. I know the players. Gang leaders, madams, corrupt officials. But what I need is a smuggler who knows the river, someone I can trust. It's a reflection of Dunwall, or perhaps myself. That after all these years, the best choice I have is Lizzie Stride. And Lizzie Stride is in jail.
Favors, and it's introducing this favor system again. So we got improved armor, explosive bow capacity, arc mine extra charge, and stun mine extra charge. We've only 515 coins, we've only 5 sleep darts, and we can get this, but this will take up most of our money. Overseer Dowd. You are disguised as an overseer. An overseer has been summoned to the Cold Ridge prison. Contacts will intercept him and send you in his place. Using this overseer's uniform as a disguise should fool the prison guards long enough to get you inside. Misplaced rune. A recent sweep of the prison for contraband has yielded a number of heretical artifacts. One of them will be accidentally placed for the right bribe. Forged requisition. Forged requisition orders allow your contact to deliver stun mines to the prison. The key to the munitions lockers will be hidden nearby. Can't afford any of the upgrades. Can't afford the increased bone charm capacity. And I can only afford a few of these. We'll have to get the rest on site. So fun.
They should get me in the front door at least. Looks like I'll need to check in with those guards by the gate.
Might want to check this in plain sight of them. Not that they can really, you know. You should have had that on already. Oh, like, overseers never take their mask off. Like, yeah, he should have done that behind, you know. It just seems weird he's doing it here only. Wait. This is where Corvo went down. Is it? I swear it is. But at the time it was fully flooded. It's like they've closed it off. Yeah, that looks it.
Overseer. About time, Overseer. We sent for you hours ago.
There was a problem with the waterlock.
Fine. Listen up. The incident took place in the interrogation room. Cross the yard and keep going straight. Anything else is off limits. Understand? Don't go exploring. Don't speak to the prisoners. We're not here to listen to you preach.
Aww.
Don't forget you're in Coldridge now, not the Abbey. We asked you here for one reason.
I'll be gone before you know it.
And back to being disorientated by the music.
Guard! Open the gate.
Did Dowd say that? Or, well, yeah, I think Dowd did say that.
Hey, the mask. Get out of here.
Really? That's a bit rude. Okay, can't talk to him. Too busy whistling that song.
Don't look at me. I don't know anything about what happened. Just go to the interrogation room. See for yourself.
What's wrong with me? We're sending 3 men to the firing squad, and no one knows what actually happened.
Didn't they do it?
Hammering drinks, and he chose a bad day. Morris lost his nerve in the sewer case. Neither of them knew anything. They died to satisfy the Lord Regent's office.
And Officer Thorpe.
Thorpe slipped him the key. Everyone knows that. He got weak. They paid him off, but he couldn't tell us who it was. And believe me, he wanted to by the end.
You've seen Corvo train, haven't you? Once he had the key, there was no stopping him. And the way he went off that bridge? How do you stop a man who'll make a jump like that? Like he doesn't care.
Or like he's more than human.
You think he's a